A very warm welcome to all of the boys that have joined us here. And those parents and students that have joined us online. We're very excited to introduce our new program of rugby, the Elite Rugby program here at Alma Mater, in partnership with UXI Sport and their Rugby Institutes. So just a couple of house rules for those in the with us here today physically. If you do have a question right through the program, please raise your hand and ask your questions. And those that have joined us online, there's a Q&A box and a chat box. And we do encourage you to ask as many questions as we go through the program. We will have a general Q&A at the end where you can also ask your questions. And without further ado, I'm going to hand over to our lovely UXI team here to introduce themselves and start with the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne-Louise, and welcome, everyone. Just quickly before we get cracking, I'll introduce the rest of those with me. On my first guy next to me, I'm all right, Alistair Tace, operations manager, and the big serious looking man over there is Mr. Kunrad de Villiers. Remember, he's a SA wrestler, so you don't want to upset him today. And then obviously, Mr. James, thank you very much for having us as well. So yeah, gents, welcome firstly to the launch of our International School of Rugby in partnership with Alma Mater and UXI Sport. UXI Sport is a high-performance athletic development program with a footprint both nationally and abroad. So we're not only based in one union, we're actually based right across the country in about 7 provinces and of Europe, and busy with ties in America as well. So Wayne, Josh, there's opportunities. Our program is designed to track, monitor, and develop your rugby and athletic abilities on an individual level. So our primary focus will be you as an individual. This is done through an holistic approach, considering rugby knowledge, physical prep, conditioning, mental performance, on-field skills, and position-specific development. At the end of the day, our focus is taking you as an individual, looking at where you are, where you need to be, and then designing your program to help you be the best rugby player and student athlete you possibly can be. That's our focus. The objective at Alma Mater, our objective is to contribute to the full development of our students by combining a world-class academic program with an established and credible high-performance program. So if you've read through the brochures that you've all received, you'll see that in the last 3 years, we've had about 60 players that has gone on to represent a union, either Western Province or Eastern Province or Sharks or Bulls. You guys know Kirtley Orenser? Yeah? One of ours. Grant Williams, Springboks scrum half, one of ours. So we have worked hard on building a credible reputation, and we're hoping that you guys will be our next best. We will achieve this through individual attention and individual detail through an IPD. This is an individual player development plan, which will be set by specialist coaches who we've equipped with being able to break down every skill on a biomechanical level. This will then be added to a personalized strength and conditioning plan. So what do you guys think about strength and conditioning? How was the basketball session? Tiring, yeah? So what we're going to do with our conditioning stuff is we're going to look at what it is that you are, how do you move, how can we make that better and help you perform optimally. That's our focus. And then we'll obviously combine that with mentorship. So not only are we looking at you as an athlete and it's all about results, our focus is on helping you as an individual as well. Too often we see students, the most time they spend is with their sports coaches. Now your coaches are adapted to being able to help you emotionally as well. So you can go and talk with your coach. Hey, coach, my girlfriend. Hey, Josh. You had the first reaction there. So how would you apply this program, or where would we apply it? So for the first 3 years, while we grow rugby at this school, our focus is going to be 7s and 10s. Thereafter, we're going to move through into 15s, and we're going to start off with learning new skills. Then we're going to progress through to mastering these skills under pressure. And then we're going to move into how do we apply these skills on a tactical level. So you saw it on the training court today. You've learned how to pass basketball, you've learned how to shoot, you've learned how to run specific lines. Now you've got to put it all together and learn when to pass, when to shoot, and when to run specific lines. Then we're going to take that and blow it up, and we're going to bring in technical analysis. So you're going to watch your opposition, and you're going to look at where their weaknesses are, and you're going to learn how to exploit it. And you're going to look at their strengths, and you're going to learn how to nullify it. And you're going to take that with you into your academic arm as well. In terms of our monitoring, our coaching staff will manage our players individually again. And we keep speaking about the individual development. The reason for this is because before a team can succeed, we need to make sure that everybody performs optimally. So we're going to track your wellness as well through simple things like the team app. We've got our own little app that we work through where we collect and gather data. When you wake up in the morning, how do you feel? Do you feel stressed? Do you feel anxious? How does your body feel? Does your body feel tired, upper body, lower body? And your coaches get that same morning. So when your coach comes to chat with you, whether it's mentorship, whether he's working on your individual plan, he already knows that Wayne said, I'm not feeling too good, or I'm feeling a bit emotional. So his whole strategy with you is going to be, how do I get Wayne to feel better today? Or your upper body, Josh, hurts because of my passing and shooting all the time. Then the coach will go and say, cool, his upper body's fatigued. What else can we do to help him achieve his goals? In terms of the pathway, we've got a 6-year plan ultimately with all of you. Starting in year 1 with our Blue program, that's where we introduce the Magic Academy, where we inspire creativity. Creativity, awareness, resilience, decision-making, and self-organization. That then progresses over the years from year 1 through to year 2 in our Bronze program. Year 3, we complicated with our Silver program, and we start focusing on training to train, and we introduce 10s and position-specific play. Into year 4, which is our Gold program, but because we're never happy with just Gold, we're going to bump it up into year 5 with a Platinum program. That's where we train to win. We go into 15 specialization. We look at rugby tactics. We look at match play. Year 6 is then your exit strategy from the school program into one of our mainstream academies. That could be Harlequins with the Blue Bulls. It could be Western Province Rugby Academy in Stellenbosch. It could be Cheetahs Institute of Excellence. It could be the Greek Quiz professional team in Kimberley. So we then filter you through into that program as well. So there is succession planning after the school program. I'd like now to give you the opportunity to watch a short video of what a day in our life looks like at our academy. I'll show you guys the video afterwards. And then after that, we'll... So I'd now like to open the floor to any questions. So if you start this program in like grade 10, grade 11, you start year 4 program, you have to vote only for people from. So your question is, if you're in grade 10 already, where do you start the program? So my first question is, how many years of rugby have you got? You started rugby this year. So in terms of your training age for the game of rugby, we'll need to start on the blue program, which is your year 1 program, because I can't put you into tactical analysis or into tactical play if we haven't nailed the fundamental skills and the full positional understanding. So, okay, I started rugby in 2012. So where would I start? So with your program, we're going to have to do a full assessment first. So we do a full screening of all your skills, your rugby understanding, and your strength and conditioning levels. And then we'll slot you into the ideal program. Josh.
So I just have a question. So let's say you're in grade 10, you start with blue program. Then because you only have like 2 years left. So would you be able to continue the program into uni or how?
So you can definitely carry on the programs uni. So we've got campuses quite literally in Stellenbosch, next year in Eastern Cape, 2 in the Eastern Cape, in Pretoria, in Kimberley, and Bloemfontein, and in Potchefstroom. So you can literally just carry on with this program after school, and then we really speed it and ramp it up. Wayne, right?
So how the training?
So your training program throughout the day, we start off any training session. Sorry, I'm getting excited when I talk rugby. Any training session starts off with different components. The first component is individual skill development. So that is a window of period when you get to the field and you start focusing on what it is you need. Some players need to do mobility. Some players grab a ball and they start focusing on the key performing indicators of a pass or a kick at goal. Then after that window, we move into our dynamic warm-up. The warm-ups are constructed to be based on the session objective. So the session objective is decision-making on attack. Then the warm-up will be based around that. It will be based on change of direction and all those lovely stuff that the strength and conditioning coach can help you with. From there, we move into the main program. That would be your general skills program, which would be your fundamental skills, your passing, your decision-making, your breakdown work, your tackle technique. Then that will be taken and applied into a high-intensity session. So we've learned a skill, now we apply the skill under pressure. Then we finish off with what we call a PDP. PDP is the goals that you have set outside of the rugby standards. And that can be anything. It could be, coach, I'd like to work on my peripheral vision. Or coach, I'd like to work on my temper because I get angry when Josh doesn't pass the ball. So then we work on that as part of your training session. So we take a holistic approach. So that's how our training sessions would look. Now? He asked was, as a boarding house student, how would this program be incorporated into their daily lives? The program will be integrated into your normal school program, but you will also have access to a gymnasium, a gym, with a strength and conditioning coach there. So with your school program, you're going to have your rugby and your conditioning, but you can also book additional slots with your conditioning coach to help you further improve, especially if you're staying on boarding. What's better than starting a Friday with a nice arm pump? Get those guns out, those biceps out. Huh?
But I would like you to tell people joining us here today exactly what the benefits are that rugby brings to your life and the lifelong benefits of being part of a school center and a rugby player. What are the benefits that rugby brings to your life?
So the first, in terms of the benefits of rugby, I'm going to hand over to Alistair and Kunrad to answer that. But the first thing that I will always tell people, and I've spoken to it about it earlier, is the networking opportunities. The teammates that you do battle with are the same people that you start new ventures with. Student athletes are rare. That's what universities look for. That's what businesses look for. Because sports teaches you hard work, discipline, loyalty, and teamwork. And if you have those things, you are ready to thrive in any environment. Because no matter what the business world throws at you, what life throws at you, you will still outwork those problems. You will still have your teammates that you can count on to help you overcome it. You will still be loyal to those around you. And you know that you can trust the people with you. So rugby has a lot of benefits, not only in terms of health and wellness, which Kuni will chat about, but also in the business world. Kun?
I think just to add to that, well, basically what Coach Jason has been saying is that sports, team sports is a mini unit of life. So in your team, you have people that you like more than others, that maybe that you don't like, but I have to get along with him. I have to make this thing work. You know, that's all situations that you're going to get in your workplace, after school, in your later life as well. So sports people usually have a good read on other people as well, because you learn to work with these personalities, and that's actually a skill that transfers very well into your workplace later in life. I think what Coach Jason also, Ali, if you want to jump in there, but I think the obvious other benefits that's kind of obvious is, you know, the healthy lifestyle of training, being active, not just sitting behind a computer or a cell phone the whole day, but being outside in the open air and training and leading a healthy lifestyle, which ideally we would want you to transfer in your later life as well, and stay active and stay healthy.
So just from our perspective, so sport, the life lessons that you learn in sports, because Jason mentioned hard work, he mentioned teamwork, he mentioned loyalty, okay? Those are lessons that you learn through team sport, and those are lessons that you can take off the field. But just taking a couple of steps back, because we spoke about strength and conditioning and individualized programming, helping you with your mechanics, for example. Okay, so through sport, through team sport, it's been proven. Okay, if you can correct your mechanics and you can correct your movement patterns through your strength and conditioning, okay, there's a correlation to concentrating longer. There's a correlation to confidence. Okay, so the concentration, for example, what's the concentration? The concentration is going to help you in the classroom. Remember, you're a student athlete. Okay, what's the confidence going to do for you when you go out in the workplace, or when you socialize outside of your school environment? When you socialize, you're going to be a more confident person. So those are all things that not just rugby, but team sport can teach you. Any other questions?
This program is developing individuals. You mentioned how do we integrate these individuals into the team? Where does that take place? And the team might not consist only of elite rugby members.
Yeah, go for it. Okay. So we look into form relationships with clubs within the area. So we're developing the individual here, but we create opportunity for them to play in a club section, where they'll play in a team environment. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
Are there any questions online?
Yeah, I think that was asked by the border, but I'll elaborate a little bit more on his question. He's asking specifically how the program ties into Alma Mater school curriculum and attendance during the day. So I think just to do with time management, etc.
I might jump in, and Louise, that's very much about how we design the timetable for next year and how we cater for that. It will need to start early in the morning. So we haven't finalized the timetable yet, but that is exactly how we'll be doing it. It will be built into the timetable. This is not a twice a week after school event. This is something that will be part of their lives every single day.
That's all the questions online.
So that in physical education slots in the time.
Yes.
Yes. And would that be for everyone or
Yes.
just for rugby?
Yes.
For everyone?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely for everybody. Are any of you doing the IPQ? Okay, there we go. Okay, there we go. So the idea is going forward is that we will build the timetable in such a way that a student will have the opportunity to select the high performance rugby program or the IPQ, a cultural activity, etc., etc. Okay. Obviously, if you're going to do both, we need to see how we're going to do that, because I'm sure there'll be students that will be interested in both. Okay, so that's it. Yes, absolutely. It's very much an American model, and that's from Mondays to Fridays. Okay. I think important words here, Jason, I think you've also mentioned it, goodness, is the holistic approach. And one of you said that the student athlete is a rare creature, and universities want them. To me, that's absolutely key, that student athlete, meaning that academics is part of the building blocks, part of that holistic approach. And then, Louise, if I can jump in here and maybe explain to you how the academic program works. So from next year onwards, we will have a middle school. Okay, we've never given it a name. From next year onwards, we'll be doing that, where grade 7 and 8 will form a unit. As you currently know, grade 9 and 10 forms a unit. And just for those attending online, I know that that's a critical question. Oh, sorry. Yes, I always forget. Sorry, humble apologies. In grade 9 and 10, we do the IGCSEs. Now, those not familiar with Cambridge, Cambridge doesn't have standards. South Africans are very used to grades. Sorry, where do I get standards? That's a throwback. Grades, it does have qualifications that we do in certain years. You all know the story. We start with the IGs at the beginning of grade 9, and we finish it at the end of grade 10. Now, there's no hard and fast rule regarding when to do your IGCSEs. Schools in Africa, there are schools in Africa that only complete their IGCSEs towards the end of matric. The wonderful thing about how Alma Mater is structured, yes, it's fast-paced learning, and therefore I think the type of student that we have at Alma is perfect for this high-performance program. We have students that will cope with that program. But obviously, the fantastic benefit, completing your IGs, and I'll go into more detail there just now. At the end of grade 10, there's actually an exit point, which meaning if your rugby is really that important and you want to go overseas, you would be able to leave at the end of grade 10. We don't want you to. We love having you at campus, and there's definite benefits doing your A levels, but that is an opportunity. The last time I checked, an 8 IGCSEs is equal to an American school leaving certificate. Okay. Since then, I've read that they've reduced the number of IGCSEs. Okay. So yeah, bear that in mind. 8 IGCSEs, and you already have an American school leaving certificate. Then grades 11 and 12, we do AS levels or A levels. Excuse me, I'm very pro A levels. If I had a choice, we'd only be doing A levels. We're still running ASs very much because of the South African environment. Wits, etc. I think for medicine, they still prefer the 6 ASs, but hopefully in time that will change. And Louise is actually the expert on that, so I don't want to say too much on that. So in grades 11 and 12, we do the A levels. Yes, I think that's very much the structure. And Louise, any questions on that?
They're just asking if it's an elective, so you need to select either high
Yes.
performance or IPQ, or
Yes.
is there an option to do
Yeah.
both?
there will definitely, we will have to look at the option at doing both. Okay, we will have to look at that. We've just realized the years that we've had IPQ, and maybe I must explain that, there were many more students, many more taking it up than currently, where it's not on the timetable, where it needs to be done after school. And that's exactly what we don't want for high performance rugby. It needs to be part of the daily schooling program. What is the IPQ? IPQ is a research project. For interest's sake, what is your topic?
Oh, no, I'm going to.
You're going to do your IPQ. If I may ask you, why are you doing your IPQ?
Just because I've heard so many great things about it.
You've heard so many great things about it. Okay. Now, what the IPQ is doing for our students currently, I believe high performance, this rugby program is going to do exactly the same. And back to the student athlete again. There are many scholarships to apply for out there. There are more sports scholarships than academic scholarships. That is just the bottom line. Why do our students do the IPQ in addition to their current schooling subjects? IPQ, independent research project, 5,000 word research project. Currently it has the status of another A level. Universities don't just look at results anymore. I think they've learned their lessons over the years with a student arriving with 3 A levels. They've got 3 A stars, and it doesn't go that well at university. And therefore this holistic approach. We cannot leave out sport. We've learned over time building this CV for our students, not just having the normal school subjects, but in addition to that, the IPQ, their research project, the President's Award. I always forget the third one. Okay, nevertheless, call it old. Okay, resume is the correct word for that. So in building this resume, we've seen it year after year. It assists students in getting those scholarships. Okay, and this is exactly the purpose of our rugby program as well, to put our students in that position. Okay, does that answer the question, Louise?
I believe so. There's here some confusion when you complete the IPQ, etc., and when do you start with the rugby program, but I think that's clear on the slideshow, but just on the IPQ.
Well, Jason explained the entry points of the rugby program. Currently, we run the IPQ in grade 11 and 12. And recently, it's been given the status of an A level. Now, we all know the best universities in the world require 3 A levels. So effectively, you're leaving Alma Mater with 4 A levels. Now, just imagine this for a moment. Having your 3 A levels, having an IPQ, having completed a program like this, what university would not want you? Okay. We've seen in the last few years the scholarships that our students have been awarded, not just from local universities, but from top foreign universities because of that IPQ. You can very much view the IPQ or the rugby program as another IPQ. Okay.
I believe so. I think we can then move on and then take any questions from.
Anymore? Is there a fitness test required before you can use absolutely? And Louise, I don't know if you want to elaborate on the admission process and the assessment.
Okay, I do think that it's important to touch on that. I'm not sure if we are finished with your presentation and discussions on the rugby program, and then we can move on to those on the general Q&A. Of those questions.
So what would happen if students in the program
then the coaches failed? No. Yeah, so remember, everything we do is based around the individual player development plan. With that is our PDP that I spoke about, the personal development plan. That's your goal setting. So from my role is going to be quality assurance, to make sure that the coaches are following up with you. So we track that in our own ways, where every interaction a coach has with you, we know. That way we can see, hey, coach, Wayne's stats aren't looking good. Please pull up your session plan so I can see how much time you've spent on those specific skills. Because if Wayne's assessment is low and this is an individual program, then we've not been following our IPD plan. So if your passing has gone down, then I need to know from the coaches, but why haven't you been working on the passing? That's why we measure, that's why we monitor, that's why we assess, to make sure that you are developing in your skill. Does that answer your question, Mike?
Just to encourage the parents that have joined online, you can ask your questions in the Q&A and chat. And then if we are completed with the rugby side, maybe just to go over to the admissions questions, etc. Let me just see, there's another question that came in. Okay, that one was answered. Okay, that's all from my side.
Regarding admissions.
Yeah.
Okay, so as our audience will know, that we're very strict in whom we take into Alma Mater. There's an assessment that we do. And why are we that strict? Is because we don't want to set up any child for disaster. If we take you into the Alma program, it's fast-paced. Many schools complete their A level as a 13th year. Nothing wrong with that. At Alma, we complete that within 12 years. So I do believe that the assessment that we're currently doing, to use that terrible word, is supplying our rugby coaches with the right material, students that will be able to cope with doing your A levels, doing an IPQ, and doing the rugby program. I don't want to brag, but I think a student who leaves with that resume here in university would want them. And we've seen that in the past. So obviously the rugby program is new. We've done so much and we've achieved so much with our IPQ. Adding this on, it's almost having the cherry on top of it, having it all. We've seen also with these extras that students do and the scholarships awarded, suddenly it's not just the A-star student that gets these opportunities. There's something to be said for a student who walks away with 3 Bs, an IPQ, and having completed a program like this. I almost want to say, is there something that this child can't do? And I'm not being arrogant. That is the nature of the Cambridge curriculum. It is challenging. It's challenging and it's fast-paced, deliberately at Alma.
I think then just to maybe touch on the USA college placement scholarships that we've briefly discussed in the brochure. So we have got a partnership with a company in America or a management company in America that can assist with these scholarships. So you have brought that in as an option to the parents and the students in the brochure. And I think if there's any questions, then we'll take some questions on that. Jason, I'm not sure if you've got anything further to discuss.
See that other question.
Let's say a child and their academics is going down. Once they can cut down on the program. Look at how
No. Do you know what? The way you're describing it, you make it sound like a punishment. Okay. And that's not the way we'll do it. Okay. If you're participating and the marks do drop, you won't be pulled from that program. That's the last, that's a terrible solution. Okay, that's punishment. We don't do that. Is the normal academic interventions that we do, is the extra lessons that we offer, etc., etc. A number of things. That assessment that you do when you enter Alma is a fantastic tool. It gives us tremendous insight into the child. It also gives us an indication of subjects that the child would do well at. We definitely, you've mentioned that individual program, but we will have to guide you through that, adding almost the subjects to the sport to make sure. And in addition to that, of course, you know, we always say you need to start with the end in mind. Is your dream to study medicine or law or whatever, okay, at which university? The entry requirements of a university in the UK, one in America, and a local university, they differ. That's not out of the ordinary. And if you've got your heart set on Canada, once again, fantastic opportunities, it's very different. And it's to start with that very, very early on. And we often see students to guide them through that. Okay, so we can't wait till year 12 before we look at, have I chosen the correct subjects? You know, at Alma, we start very, very early with that. Okay. First round of subject choices at the end of grade 8, which is very early. We know that, you know that. And then the second round, once they've completed the IGCSEs, before they move on to A level. And then this is a family discussion. This is when you bring mum and dad to school. We get the rugby experts in, we get the subject advisors in, you get Mrs. Stein in, consider it a panel, and then we talk about the future. Where do you want to go? What is needed? And you know what? Think of the IPQ topic. You can't choose something in medicine if you're going to study law. I mean, it doesn't make sense. All of this needs to fit together. Okay, so it's an incredible personal plan to have. You know what, the rugby program to me is fulfilling exactly that. Obviously next year there's the IPQ on offer, but there's also the IPQ with a mentorship that we've spoken about. I think we have spoken to you about it, where you've got a mentor from one of the big brands universities. It's a new partnership that we've signed. It's Cornell, it's Penn, it's Oxford, it's Cambridge, and there's a fifth one, MIT. Now imagine doing your IPQ and being mentored by one of those professors. It's incredible. You're set for life. You're absolutely set for life. And in addition to that, you've mentioned that the networking opportunities. This is the place to be. It's an incredible opportunity afforded. But you know what? It's what you bring to it. Eh? It's what you bring to it.
If I can just quickly jump in there, James, as well. That's exactly what we mean when we talk about a student athlete. No, it's not just a student anymore. Now you're a student athlete. That's the next level of commitment and discipline and sacrifice that's going to come from your side. And that is exactly why student athletes are so precious in the tertiary environment, because they know that you were able to tick that boxes. Look, it's going to be tough. It's tough to just manage your studies on your own. Now you've got to do gym and rugby training on top of that on a daily basis. So we're not pretending here that it's going to be smooth sailing. It's going to be tough, but the coaches and from the academic side, we're going to take hands and guide you and mentor you through that process. But there's also going to be more sacrifice from you and more hard work coming from you. And that's exactly why once you're done with this system, you are a student athlete, a proper student athlete. And that is why tertiary educations would look at you breathlessly.
Universities, you know, when they award scholarships, they don't want to make mistakes. To put it very bluntly, they don't want to give the scholarship to the wrong person. And this nowadays, you know, instead of giving it to the A candidate, you give it to the B candidate, sometimes even the C candidate. But this child presents an incredible CV or resume. The chances of getting a return on that investment that the university makes into you is obviously so much better. Yes.
That's not what we're saying.
Yes. Yes.
So we do have, with Coach Kunra, we do advise on nutrition. So we definitely will talk to you guys about what to eat, what not to eat, creating the right habits, but at the same time also looking at your goal setting. So we spoke about the IPDs, we spoke about PDPs. PDP is not limited to rugby. Your PDP is quite literally wherever your mentor coach can help you. If that means he needs to contact us regarding a nutrition plan, or he wants to gain weight or lose weight, so be it. If it means, oh, coach, I'm struggling with my maths, can I please have some extra time? Because remember, part of our rugby program is there's PDP time, which doesn't have to be. Rugby is there to help you become more successful in life. It means we have to take the coach and just sit with you and help you work through something, so be it.
Just a question on gym schedules for the students.
Well, that needs to be built in partnership with the rugby team. Yeah.
So also part of the school program.
Yeah.
That's all the questions from online.
Okay. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much for the panelists being here. And then I'm sure there's going to be questions follow up. So you are welcome to contact the admissions office and we'll direct those questions along. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.